The Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard saga continues. Yeah, where is this going to go? Who knows? All right, but what we have got is a fascinating example here of what we call bilingual body language, where you've got Johnny Depp saying something and then Amber Heard reacting or not reacting, which is my point here. But there's been some really fascinating insights into Johnny Depp and the truth, the validity, the specific nature of his oration to the court. What's give a real insight into what I believe, okay, and it's just my belief, and I will prove through non-verbal communication. I'll give you the highlights, as I always do, here on the Believe in Bruce channel, that Amber Heard may not be being as truthful as she has tried to, offer, present to the world, and to the watching public, because of what Johnny Depp says and what he does and what he doesn't do. Okay, that's the key. Now, Johnny Depp is in court testifying. He's got obviously an incentivized reason that he wants to clear his name. He wants to reduce the amount of allegations, according to him, that Amber Heard has presented, and that people are now thinking of Johnny Depp. But remember, the T-junction, what we discuss here on the Believe in Bruce channel. It's about what does Johnny Depp say in this particular moment, and then what does his body language do? Is it lining up? Is there synchrony? Yeah. Is the body, the muscular output, matching up with what the words are coming out? And the first thing that Johnny does, okay, now this is what we call the reverse Pinocchio touch. Because a lot of the times, especially on my videos, what we've looked at, all right, is when people touch their nose when they're explaining something, okay, there's a level of discomfort there. And that's what you see Johnny Depp doing right at the start here, all right? When he's talking about of what is your aim, when asked, by the court, why are you here, what you're trying to achieve, and he speaks about, I want to challenge, I want to remove these heinous charges directed at him by Miss Heard, you'll see he actually touches his nose here, yeah? Now, if you notice, he's not saying he didn't do them. All right, he's not saying, no, I didn't do whatever Amber Heard saying I do, and then touch his nose, because context is absolute king here, okay? What he's talking about is the actual charges that have been levelled against him. And that feeling there, that autonomous feeling, is a feeling of great discomfort, all right, is a feeling of great discomfort. And there's a few things that happens that, again, I'm going to highlight, all right, but I just wanted that are part of this feeling where Johnny Depp looks uncomfortable, and uncomfortable enough to see actually there might be some truth in what Johnny Depp is saying. But that one where he brings it, he says, look, this is the reason why into the court, definitely that touch of the nose. His nose just didn't get itchy there. Yeah, that limbic system, that prefrontal cortex, that adrenaline system, yeah, that produced that nose to get itchy, because it makes Johnny Depp feel uncomfortable about these charges, okay? He doesn't like being labelled with these charges, as you wouldn't, as I wouldn't, okay? But it's not about him trying to lie his way out of it. There's a genuine feeling of the words that he says. Remember, that's what we've got to do. We've got to listen to the words that he says. And as he says it, he's saying, about these horrible charges, and he's touching his nose. He genuinely feels they are horrible charges.
Miss Heard made some quite heinous and disturbing.
And then this is backed up by the next highlight that I want to focus on here, where he says that he never struck Miss Heard, nor has he ever struck another woman.
Striking Miss Heard in any way, nor have I ever struck any woman in my life.
And as he says this, there is no reaction at all within Johnny Depp. So he's saying he didn't do it. And there is absolutely nothing from a non-verbal language communication standpoint that would indicate he is lying. There's no self-soothe. There's no move in the seat. There's no touch of the nose as he says, I did not do this. There is nothing at all. Now remember, that limbic system, that honest part of the brain, it's autonomous. Without even thinking about it, your brain will react just like it did before when he was on about the heinous charges. Yeah, it just reacts like this. So the fact that now what we have him saying he has never hit Amber Heard and he has never hit another woman, and the fact there is no autonomous body language, there is no triggers, there is no cues, there is nothing for us to pick up on, would indicate out the area of probability that he is actually telling the truth. And then we see what we call an adjustment. Johnny Depp adjusting his tie. He starts fiddling with his tie. And he's talking about him being a private person and, you know, being up in the court in front of everybody. It makes him feel uncomfortable. He's trying to keep his kids out of the spotlight. And the fact that he's orating these words, that he's offering, you know, his thoughts, that he is uncomfortable while adjusting the tie. Now, an adjustment can come in many formats. If you are waiting to go and see somebody, or they are challenging your scheme of things, you're offering your perception, you'll often see an adjustment. Again, it's a sign of being uncomfortable. Some people do reframing where they will push their hair to the side. Meghan Markle done a number of those in a number of her interviews as well. Yeah, when you're trying to present a different side to yourself. Whereas the adjustment, so his tie just didn't get tighter there. All right. What we've got is a very similar reaction to what we call the globus sensation. So just like when you get upset or when you get angry, your throat starts to tighten up. Think about it now when you've got stressed. Yeah, when you've got stressed in any situation, often the coat will come off. You'll start unbuttoning. We as human beings, when we feel that stress, when we perceive that threat, what we don't like to do is be constrained in, yeah? So often we'll take our clothes off, the jacket will come off, the jumper will come off, the buttons will get undone. We want to be like free flowing. And this is what we see with Johnny when he's saying, look, I am a private person, being up here, you know, I have to do it because I want to clear my name, but I'm not enjoying it. It doesn't make me feel comfortable. And that's where you get that adjustment of the tie, yeah? And it's an elongated adjustment as well. Is that essentially, if Johnny could have took his tie off there and started to unbutton, yeah, to feel more free, to reduce those stress levels, to calm that limbic system down, yeah, his limbic system would have been going absolutely crazy at that moment there, as indicated by the adjustment of tie in that critical moment. Yeah, so he is uncomfortable in that situation. He's not, you know, he's not enjoying being in front of the camera. There's enough evidence to say that Amber Heard does. It's not, you know, his thing, even though he's an actor, that's a specific controlled environment. This is something that is well outside of his comfort zone, and he's freely offering that. And then his body language, we've got that synchrony there, that tie adjustment around the globus sensation to reduce the stress, backs up what Johnny Depp is saying.
As novelties, I didn't want my children to experience hordes of paparazzis.
Now here what we've got is searching eyes. Okay, searching eyes. He talks about the time when Amber Heard got, let's say, emotional about Johnny Depp taking off his own boots. Apparently she wanted to do it. Yeah, it took me a little bit to get my head around that as well. However, that's what she wanted to do. Now, what's really interesting here is when Johnny goes to collect a memory, you'll see he looks up to the top left. Yeah, and there's a combined thing. There's a combined cluster here. So when he's recollecting that memory, he's going to the top there. So something definitely happened. Whether it's exactly, and again, I've got to be fair and balanced here, yeah, whether it's exactly as Johnny Depp says or not, who knows? But you'll see him go to the top when he's recollecting Amber Heard not being happy with him taking off his boots. But then you see him come down and he's searching from left to right. And what he's talking about, like, is basically, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know why that was an issue. I didn't know what the problem was. Yeah? And to this day, his eyes are still searching because he still doesn't understand what was the problem with him taking off his own boots. And again, as he's testified, you know, Amber had a control mechanism. There were certain rituals, certain procedures that she thought Johnny should obey. And again, whether it's 100% factual or not, what you can conclude from this is there was something that definitely happened that he's referring to, because that's where he went to recollect that memory. And then it still confuses them to this day because you start searching for it. Again, biology doesn't lie.
Take pause, of course, at the fact that she was visibly shaken or upset that I had broken her rules of routine.
One thing I would have liked to ask more questions about is when he does a hair adjustment, which is actually a self-soothe. And he does it with his knuckles as well, I believe. When he's talking about Amber used to like socialising and hosting parties, again, something happens in that moment with his limbic system that triggers off some type of an adrenaline reaction because he self-soothes himself in that specific instance. I would say 80% of the testimony from Johnny Depp, he sits pretty much still, but there's a lot of facial expressions going on. Yeah, there's a lot of facial expressions where very rarely he actually moves his hands, and this is one of the times. So something has had to happen within the brain, within that limbic system, yeah, for him to feel uncomfortable enough. This is the key, okay? For him to feel uncomfortable enough to then soothe his head, and then the knuckle. It's almost like punishing himself. Was he comfortable in those social situations? Was, you know, for example, and this is just an assumption on my part, I am inferring here, and I want to acknowledge that. Was Amber Heard like a time bomb waiting to go off? Did he feel out of place, the imposter syndrome? Was there tension when these social situations were occurring? Who knows? But whatever was going on inside Johnny's head at that particular time, it was powerful enough for him to give himself a self-soothe. And also, not with the sort of palm, the second one was with a different area of the fingers. An agitation, a frustration, almost like an ick, an itch. He wasn't happy with those social situations, and I would have just liked to dig that little bit deeper for why he was feeling like that when Amber Heard hosted the parties. But the biggest thing for me, okay, is the non-reaction of Amber Heard all the way through this testimony. We must be so careful to offer both sides a fair and balanced approach, an awareness of what's going on, especially when it comes to violence in the home, be it against a man or a woman. Yeah, equality, absolutely essential. But what was really interesting for me is when Johnny Depp was saying all these things, Amber Heard just didn't react at all. Now, when we talk about baselines, all right, and this is the baseline, think about yourself. Think about when you've been in an argument or somebody's been saying something about you. As an average, again, and I want to make this clear, it is an average, not specific to the individual. It's not maybe it's idiosyncratic. Yeah, we're talking about a global average. Somebody says something about someone and you don't agree with it, you'll sort of twist your eyes, or you'll do something, is my point, if you disagree with it. Not once did Amber Heard do anything that would indicate she disagreed with what Johnny Depp was saying. It was very much a poker face. Now remember, the limbic system's autonomous, it will take over. You can train it to somewhat, but you can't train it 100%. It will always pop up, especially when you've been triggered. And some of the stuff that Johnny Depp was saying, you would have expected, again, baseline average, it's not idiosyncratic, it's not specific, for Amber Heard to react, to do something, to express her frustration or her disbelief or, her, Johnny's here, he's lying again. The fact that we just had a poker face, for me, speaks volumes that actually maybe he was telling the truth. And maybe it's because he was being so... It's very hard to argue with the truth. If you take something and you create an emotional exaggeration of it, people will argue with you. Where if you explain calmly, look, this is what you've done, people are less likely to argue with you. If you're more specific on what you've done or what they haven't done, they're less likely to argue with you. So for me, this is really interesting. The fact that Amber Heard showed no reactions at all of her negatively hearing the information that Johnny Depp was offering, that to me is the most powerful part of all of the testimony that I've watched, is the lack of Amber Heard's reaction to when Johnny Depp is explaining specific incidents that occurred and she doesn't even move. It's very rare, okay? It's very, very rare. So based on that, I hope you enjoyed it, a little bit more body language, how the psychology works. It'll be interesting to see if there's anything more that comes out of this and how this plays out to hopefully give us some more evidence in there. Remember, we've got to be factually balanced. We've got to be open to both sides, especially in a case like this, a sensitive case like this. But then it's also okay to have an opinion as well. If you are interested in any type of psychology, body language, performance enhancement, there's some free resources if you want to head across to believeandbruce.com. The link is in the subtitle below. If you want to go there, there's free resources. We send out facts, figures, tools, techniques, tips and processes, all about psychology, body language, essentially how to help you control your head and your heart so you can be the best version of yourself. So like I say, I'll put the link in the description below. Please subscribe if you like the content. We'll be doing some more videos like this. And also below, let me know what body language analysis or any type of videos that you would like me to cover as well. And I'll always credit the people for giving me ideas. But more important than any of this, believe in Bruce. Please remember to be kind to yourselves and each other.